Alright, let's get going. I'm going to first actually just mark up this audio in Transcribe. I guess I'll just add that window, why not? To get all the bars in and stuff like that, and to make sure that the stream isn't going to get flagged for copyrighted content. So I'll just leave that there for now. I might end up doing this at faster speed, but we'll see. Yeah, why not? Let's do it at 150% to speed things along. It's going to sound pretty frantic. Actually, I'm not going to, because this way you're going to get to hear the song in preparation. La charanga habanera de papá bebé, el chévere de la salsa. Con bamboleo y Simone quiere pasear. Un automóvil, una moto a la playa en chalupa. Pero yo solo de regalo traigo chupa chupa. ¿A qué te gusta? Ay, esa niña a mí me tiene cansada. Y yo con esa muchachita yo no puedo. Le di su chupa chupa y ahora no quiere darme caramelo. ¿Y por qué? Toma chupa chupa, dame caramelo. Ay, ay, sí que eso me muero. ¿Hasta cuándo? Ay, pero ¿hasta cuándo? Tú tienes que ser tan tirando. Así que dímelo cantando. Está llevando de la mano y agitado. Solo me pide que le compre en el mercado, que la lleve a pasear por el malecón. Quiero bailar, NG con Pablito, suerte. La charanga habanera nos va para revés. El chévere de la salsa quiere pasear. Un automóvil, una moto, la playa en chalupa. Pero yo solo de regalo traigo chupa chupa. ¿A qué te gusta? ¡Seguro que sí! Pide que te regale un chupa chupa. Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta. Mira, yo traigo chupa chupa de todas las frutas. Abre la boca, mami, dime si te gusta. Ay, pero pídelo, pídelo. Si a ti te gusta. Hay de fresa, vainilla, de menta, de choco, de piña, de mango, naranja y de coco. Pide que te regale un chupa chupa. Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta. Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta. ¿Qué cosa? Muy sabroso chupa chupa. Pide que te regale un chupa chupa. Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta. Pero no pidas bailar con Isa con Adalberto, porque para eso yo no tengo presupuesto. Pide que te regale un chupa chupa. Ay, seguro que no. Grito harina, ven toma chupa chupa y dame caramelo, que yo sin eso me muero. Ay, ofrenda especial para que lo baile. Grito harina, qué fina. Ay, pero dime que tú quieres que te dé. ¿Qué es lo que quiere la niña? Ay, qué cosa. Un chupa chupa de piña. Un chupa chupa con sabor a piña. si no hay.
A ella lo mismo le da que sea de vainilla.
Que quiere cerveza,
Que quiere esa belleza.
chupa de fresa.
Y pa' que quiera tener su chupa chupa de fresa. Pa' que se le quiten los olores de cabeza.
Que lo que quiere la niña,
¿Qué quiere esa niña?
chupa de piña.
Esta la barra pinta, su tensual de limón.
Y se contó chupa chupa.
Angelito con le tocó.
Que lo que quiere cerveza,
Que Dios se lo dio.
chupa chupa de fresa.
Que se lo recomendó su doctor.
¿Qué le digo?
Pruébalo.
Oh, I'm gonna have to write that all out. Shit.
Esa.
Que lo que quiere la niña,
¿Qué quiere esa niña?
chupa de piña.
Esta la barra pinta, su tensual de limón.
Y se contó chupa chupa.
Angelito con le tocó.
Que lo que quiere cerveza,
Que Dios se lo dio.
chupa chupa de fresa.
Que se lo recomendó su doctor.
¿Qué le digo?
Pruébalo, no importa el
Que lo
sabor.
que quiere la niña,
Ay, que no, que no.
chupa chupa de piña.
Ay, llegó la hora de probar tu chupa chupa. Ahora yo voy a repartir lo que te gusta.
Chupa chupa para
Chupa
Carla,
chupa para Carla.
chupa chupa para
Solo
Riquita,
chupa chupa para Riquita.
chupa chupa para
A la
Teresa,
Teresa dáselo de
chupa chupa
fresa.
para que mueva la cabeza.
Pa' que mueva la
Chupa chupa para
cabeza.
Carla,
Carla, que
chupa
Carla.
chupa para Riquita,
Ay, rica, qué rica.
chupa para
A la
Teresa,
Teresa, qué belleza.
chupa para que mueva la cabeza.
Muévete.
Chupa para
Oye,
Carla,
chupa para Carla.
chupa para
Y tres
Riquita,
chupa para Riquita.
chupa para Teresa,
Otro para Teresa.
chupa chupa para que mueva la cabeza.
A ver si bien que. Ay, te traigo yo.
Chupa chupa para
Pero
Teresa,
pa' qué, pa' qué, pa' qué, pa' qué.
para que mueva la cabeza.
Ay, cantado, pero bailado.
Chupa chupa para Teresa, chupa chupa para que mueva la cabeza.
Te traigo yo.
Chupa chupa para Teresa,
¿Pa' qué, pa' qué?
chupa chupa para que mueva la cabeza.
Mira.
Chupa chupa para Teresa,
¿Pa' qué, pa' qué?
chupa chupa para que mueva la
Y ahora
cabeza.
yo te digo que.
Chupa chupa, dame caramelo. Ay,
Ay,
sin eso me muero. ¿Hasta cuándo?
ay, pero ¿hasta
Porque tú
cuándo?
tienes que seguir dando y dando, matando y sanando. Toma chupa chupa, dame caramelo. Ay,
Ay.
sin eso me muero. ¿Hasta cuándo?
¿Y lo mío qué?
Porque tú tienes que seguir dando y dando, matando y sanando. Matando y sanando.
Okay. The reason I had to mark all that out was because almost every single section had at least, like, there isn't any section where all of the different instruments repeat. As in, you know, maybe the vocals and the brass are repeating, but the rhythm section in the second time does something different, and I have to write that out somehow. So, I'm actually going to do percussion first in this one, just for fun, for a bit of variety, and because it's going to let me map out the structure really fast.
Está llevando de la mano y agitado. Solo me pide que le compren el mercado, que la lleve a pasear por el malecón.
¡Qué vacilón!
I'm going to call that... Already we're at something that doesn't have a good name.
¡Qué vacilón!
Well, actually,
¡Qué vacilón!
I'm going to do this and do 2 verses because the only thing that changes is the vocals. And I can just do that with 2 verses.
¡Qué vacilón!
La charanga habanera, los papás bebé, el chévere de la salsa.
¡Tu bamboleo, Simone!
Well, do I want to be that lazy? No, I don't. I don't at all. So that's into bar 25. I'm gonna call this motivo for now because it's kind of like a masacote thing, but only the timbalero is playing. So I wouldn't really call it masacote because masacote is almost always very conga focused and congas forward, even though what's happening here is what the timbales would be playing in a masacote, but we'll leave it like that for now. This is very clearly a very sort of archetypal presión, kick drum, clave, congas digging around. I hate how that looks. This is the nice thing about transcribing Charanga Habanera, is that the way they play a lot of these gears is so archetypal, because they kind of come from a slightly earlier time than the timba bands that followed in the rest of the 90s. Even though this song is from the rest of the 90s, they're still playing in a very sort of archetypal way. In this presión, the kick drum is just playing the whole time, like that would kick every bar, which is really, really archetypal. Check it out. Okay, and then we get another really classic Charanga Habanera break here. It's in bar 32. Oops. That's what I meant to do. This is pretty much their bog standard, how they get from presión up into masacote, or sometimes bomba, but not as often. So it's now in this case, the break is kind of messed up a little bit because they have to tie over this note, but which makes it kind of, do I want to do, oops, hold up, note grouping. Something to do with Dorico is not, so you've got a hidden time signature in the second bar, so it's actually 4/4 because Dorico doesn't like, Dorico thinks that 2/2 isn't notated as 4/4 is, but it should be. And so I've just got 4/4 in there hidden, but Dorico doesn't like to, like, I've got in this template that I use for this, I've saved all these settings for note grouping and beam grouping and all this stuff. It just doesn't want to do the template. It goes back to the defaults. That's not that clear either. I'm going to leave it like that. That's clearer to me. No. Fuck. Why? Okay. I don't like that. Again, this should have been in the note grouping defaults, but wasn't. Is that the setting? Yes, it is. I know people who are going to tell me that shouldn't have a dotted note on the offbeat, but the alternative is an eighth note and a rest. which is messier. And because this is actually in 2/2, I tend to think that this kind of thing is okay. Especially considering that I'm writing this in 8ths, even though Cubans tend to write it in 16ths, and so a dotted 8th on an offbeat 16th would be totally fine, and that's the analogous thing here. This is a masacote, clearly defined. Here the congas are doing their own. This is Mengual, I think, who was a genius conga player, and he pretty much created a brand new pattern for every single masacote in every single song. So that's like 2 or even 3 new patterns for every single song on every album, which is insane. And he's doing something creative here. This is one of those ways in which Charanga Habanera sort of messes with the nomenclature of this stuff. If you go by the congas, it should be masacote. But the bass is doing some sliding, which for most bands would say this is bomba. But a bomba doesn't make sense in this spot contextually because it's not the climax of the song. It's not even the climax of the section. And plus there's also a synth bass playing a separate bass line, which would imply a pedal section. But Charanga Habanera does that in masacotes, so I'm leaving it at masacote because that's what it's serving as functionally. And if a different band played this song, or a different band had written this song, that's kind of what would have happened there.
Cantando.
Oops, it's not in fact that. It is.
Está llevando de la mano y agitado. Solo me pide que le compre en el mercado, que la lleve a pasear por el malecón. Quiere bailar, tiene compadrito, suerte. La charanga habanera no está para revés. Lo chévere de la salsa.
63. I think it was.
Salsa.
Probably. If not, I may notice it later and correct it. And if not that, then if you play that, it'll work. So.
Salsa.
Now this is.
Quiere pasear.
Yeah. I think that is in fact a laggy kind of version of
Lo chévere de la salsa. Quiere pasear.
It's definitely not even eighths, so
Quiere pasear, un automóvil, una moto, la playa en chalupa. Yo solo de regalo traigo chupa chupa. ¿A qué te gusta?
¡Ay, seguro que sí!
¿A qué te gusta?
¡Ay, seguro que sí!
Pide que te regale.
need a hotkey. those LV ties. Wow.
Pide que te regalen un chupa chupa, te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta.
Mira, yo traigo chupa chupa de toda la fruta. Abre la boca, mami, dime si te gusta. Ay, pero pídelo, pídelo.
Si a ti te gusta.
Hay de fresa, vainilla, de menta, de choco, de piña, de mango, nada. De menta, de choco, de piña, de mango, nada. De menta, de choco, de piña.
Wow, is this two endings though?
Que te regalen un chupa chupa, te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta.
Mira, yo traigo chupa chupa de toda la fruta. Abre la boca, mami, dime si te gusta. Ay, pero pídelo, pídelo.
Si a ti te gusta.
Hay de fresa, vainilla, de menta, de choco, de piña, de mango.
Que te regalen
Ay, pero pídelo.
si a ti te gusta.
Fresa, vainilla, de piña, de mango, choco, de piña, de mango, naranja y de mango, naranja y de piña, de mango, naranja y de
Oh, interesting.
menta, de choco, de piña, de mango, naranja y de
Que te regalen un chupa chupa.
Okay. Another reason why there's going to be almost no repeated sections in the song, because they always do little after effects in the beginning of sections like this. So this thing starts. This is the downbeat of the section, but the first bar has this, and then
te compraré una caja. Te compraré una caja. Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta.
te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta.
¿Qué cosa?
Muy sabroso chupa chupa.
Que te regalen un chupa.
so 97 would be the downbeat. I'm going to put a double bar there just to remind myself in case. Fuck. Do I want to have that? Oh no, that is totally okay. 2. Wait.
Que te regalen un chupa chupa.
3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. Okay, yeah, that's right. Hopefully I can repeat that.
Regalen un chupa chupa. Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta.
Pero no
Nope. There's another one right there. Let's do this and then. It's almost like copy protection, as if they're trying to do difficult stuff so that people don't copy it exactly. I mean, you could copy the essence of the song, but people who are really familiar with the song trying to dance to it would be probably getting these things, and then if the cover band didn't hit them would be disappointed. I don't know.
Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta.
Pero no pidas bailar con Isa con Adalberto, porque para eso yo no tengo presupuesto.
Que te regalen.
Okay, so the next one is 105. Do I want to do it like that? With the double bar and then the slashes and then the 4 or 5, 6, 7. Yeah, because if I were to have this and then that would be equally unclear because six, 7, and then it's clear that that's 8. No, maybe. I don't really like it either way. Maybe I'll just, for that one, I'll have it count every. No. I'll just have a 6 there by doing a sneaky little count from 6 and count every 2. Yeah. I know it doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense, but if I were reading this, seeing 4 blank blank and then slashes without a double bar, I think would confuse me. Honestly, I haven't tried reading a lot of this stuff in eighth notes because I hate it, but I think that would confuse me. So I'm hopefully putting a repeat there, hoping that this can be repeated. Let's see. Nope. It's only 3 long. Okay, so that's 112. I'm not gonna put the little roll pickup to this in the timbales because everyone knows that it exists. I know I mean, like, for the people who don't know that it exists, it won't matter, and the people who care about it already know it exists. So technically not the most accurate transcription, I suppose, but functional. And this isn't a transcription for transcription's sake either. This is for the purpose of being read. Now, does that bass thing happen the first time? Nope. Seems like in the second time of these masacotes, they do that little thing. I'm gonna put that in as an actual thing because I know that not all the percussion are doing it, or even any of them that much, but it's a thing that the bass is doing, and it's a thing that they did in the previous masacote, so I'm gonna put it there because people might want to. I guess I'll just... That's kind of awkward. No. Yeah, okay, fine. And then I have to do the thing where it's not the right number of repeat bars. This is where I just don't put which clave it is, because it's just going to be confusing, because it's 2 3 2 3 2 3 2 3. This bar is 2. That's the beginning of the next 8. 3 2 3 2, and then it's just because there's a thing in the first bar, and just people will get it. I'm just gonna assume people will get it.
Hay que gozar, la niña, hay que gozar, hay que gozar, la niña, hay que gozar, la niña, hay que gozar, gozar.
That's a situation where I actually will put it as a held note because they don't lead in until the next downbeat in 131 there. I'll play it again. I should have this a little bit zoomed in, I realize now. Sorry if that was not that visible.
Hay que gozar, chupa chupa de piña, un chupa chupa con sabor a piña. Si no hay, ella lo mismo le da que sea de vainilla. ¿Qué quieres saber?
So this is a situation where I may actually well be able to put a repeat, even if only one.
Si no hay, ella lo mismo.
Well, I might honestly even do a first time only, and fuck it, like, because the problem is also that the vocals change every other time, whereas no one else does. I'm gonna do that preemptively for now, and if I hate it later, then I'll change it. So that would be here. Fuck. Never mind. It's the same thing as the last chorus. So it's gonna be a repeat and then a bunch more and then okay. This should be right. Start at 137. Yep.
¿Qué quiere esa niña? Está una barra pinta, su tenso es de limón. Y se con chupa chupa. A que le tocó. Que quiere Teresa. Que Dios se lo dio. Chupa chupa de fresa. Que se lo recomendó su doctor. ¿Qué le dijo?
Okay, so until 158. I mean, you know, I've done this in the past by having a single repeat, and it's been messy as fuck. Like, this would be, you know, this would show first time only, and then this one would be here, and it would say second time only, and then there'd be another thing wherever it is, and this, let's see, that's in the fifth bar, and it would say whatever that is, fourth time only. But you know, I hate it. It's so much more work to get it to look okay in the score and in the parts, and it's so much, like, it's such an insignificant amount easier to read. So. Call Adam Neely again. I'm pretty sure. Let's just do it for now. And if spans barline splits notes, that's a way that I'm okay with for now. It's ugly as hell, I know. Don't at me. I'll break it down later and look at the song against a grid and see if it is in fact a triplet, but it feels like it to me. Let me just count it quickly. Well, it could, you know what, it's close enough to, but weirdly enough, it seems like it's way more complex than that, but if I break it down, this is at 50% speed and I count the eighths. Yeah, it's a triplet. Fuck, damn it. You know, in eighths like this, it is easier to... what's the other option here? This is the one that's not okay, because you don't... Well... what was the thing that Adam Neely suggested in his classic video? This is the exact same triplet as in La Sandunguita and also in Linda Melodia, I think. Yeah, it is. It's definitely not right on the quinto pulse there on the eighth. Like I said, I'll go back and I'll put it in a DAW and mess around with the grid and see how well it actually lines up and if it's warranted doing an over the bar line triplet or not. This is the nastiest option, right? Like, it's not like... This one is also nasty, but you can do that with 2/8 and it's clearer. But this one just... No one's going to sight read it. Once you look at this and you go, oh, that's a quarter note, that's a quarter note, that adds up to a quarter note, starts on the last eighth of the bar, you get it. It's not meant to be sight readable. Fuck it. Yeah, so such is life. Unperformable. 161. I'm gonna extend that, and then I like to have it on the downbeat. So it's gonna be like that. Fuck it. That's on 168. Oh. What error occurred, Darko? The window has popped up saying an error occurred. Okay. Da, da, da.
Chupa chupa para acá.
Que te gusta.
Chupa chupa para acá.
Now this is like even more archetypal in Masakote because the bass is also doing something screwy.
Chupa chupa para acá.
Chupa para acá.
Chupa chupa para arriba.
Chupa para arriba.
Chupa chupa para derecha.
Esa solo de
Chupa chupa
fresa.
para que mueva la cabeza.
Que mueva la
Chupa para acá.
cabeza.
Except
Chupa chupa para arriba.
they did their thing that means Masakote is coming in the 8th bar, as if to lead it to the next 8 bar. So how are they conceptualizing this? Let's see here. What did the congas do?
Chupa chupa para acá. Chupa chupa para arriba. Chupa chupa para derecha. Chupa chupa para que mueva la cabeza.
Yeah, so that kind of explains it. This isn't Masakote because the congas aren't playing a set pattern. They're just dicking around. But the bass is playing a set pattern with the synth bass. And the bells are playing some stuff.
I
mean, you could call it pedal, but then again, it's not, like, pedal makes you think of long sustained pedal tones in the bass, which this is obviously not. I'm going to call it motivo for now. This is the thing with Charanga Habanera, is that they started a lot of the techniques and structural ideas and section ideas and stuff people took and ran with, but then they, maybe just because they were so comfortable with it because they invented it, they mixed them in ways that aren't easily categorizable. For example, usually a mambo section, the brass are playing, and the vocals either stop, the chorus stops, or they switch to singing half of the chorus or something like that. Charanga Habanera just adds brass to what was already a chorus. So does it become a mambo then? The percussion didn't change. You know what I mean? It's just not easily fittable into a box. So now it's Masakote. I'm going to transcribe these percussion parts later on, but I don't know how well you can hear all this kind of stuff via YouTube, but wait a second. What the congas are doing in there is essentially almost, with the low drum, almost perfectly doubling all the strong accents of the bass line, which is really cool. I'll transcribe them later so that they go together and you can see, but for now I'm just doing the lead sheet. This is a really one of the sort of most flippant of all the mambos. think that's right. Yeah. I haven't got a tempo for this. 1 second.
Gala, que gala.
Machupa pa' Ritita.
Ay, chica, qué rica.
Machupa pa' Teresa.
Ay, Teresa, qué belleza.
Machupa pa' que mueva la cabeza.
Muévete,
Machupa pa' Gala.
machupa para gala.
Machupa pa' Ritita.
Machupa para Ritita.
Pretty much 100. So, put that in there. Half equals, call it 100. That's fast. That's hard to dance to, and yet it doesn't feel all that fast to me. Oops. Every band has got to have one of these songs where they mention, in some context, all of the other bands. In this one, the context isn't so much about you know, how great the other bands are and stuff. Like, what's the, there's a Manolito song. La Música Cubana or something. Where he's just talking about all these bands and how good they are. This one is a lot more sort of less direct, but they do end up mentioning all the bands. Isaac does it, I'm pretty sure Bamboleo does it too. Anyway.
A ver si viene.
Those trumpets cannot actually pull this off. It's kind of, I mean, it's fast in their defense, you know. Let's put this in the right key. I'm assuming this is actually in G minor. Well, no, it's in B flat major. Are we in concert pitch? No, we're not. Never mind. It's not in that. It is in. No, wait. Well, I guess. Yeah, no, it's in A flat major. Okay. Key A flat. Why? I don't know. This is what they're meant to be playing. It's supposed to be all triplets, for sure.
A ver si viene. Ay. Ay. I mean, in fairness, that's hard. Yeah, it's hard. Got the classic little back tool. Again, I would be inclined. Okay, in that case, this makes a lot more sense. And they don't even do it for more than 4 bars before going back down.
see, this is immediate masakote because the congas are playing a recognizable thing immediately. Check it out.
Ay, cantado, pero bailado.
Un chupa chupa pa' Teresa, un chupa chupa pa' que muevan la cabeza.
Followed by, it's not, I shouldn't be calling it a transition to masakote. What it is it's like you're in meneo gears, you're in non-dancing, non-stepping gears, right? The bass is cut out or you're doing weird stuff, and so the groove has dropped out. The normal groove doesn't mean that the groove is gone. And then this break, this one, go, bra thing is just we're going higher in energy. So it could be from presión to masakote, it could be from masakote to bomba, like in this case. So. Again with the tying over. It's too bad about that. I feel like it sort of doesn't let that break breathe quite enough to go dum para gum like that. I don't really think it is as nice as landing on the downbeat, but alas. So, oops. Yeah, it's a different break. Again with a little after effect there. For people not as familiar with Cuban music, I mean modern-ish Cuban music of the 90s and so on, this must be confusing as hell. But this, you gotta know, this really happens a lot. The section changes right where you think it changes, right where the phrase starts, the vocal phrase or the brass or whatever. And all this extra stuff is the percussion sort of obscuring that section change, if you like. You know, the typical thing that we're used to in North American music is you got a section, it's going along, drums do a fill, which ends on the downbeat of the next section, right? And in this case, there are a lot of layers to that. Not only does the fill always land on the two sides of the clave, so in this song, you're landing on a downbeat of the section, but in a song that's in free 2, you might actually be landing on the downbeat of the second part of the section. But there's also all these things that that Kevin Moore of Timba.com and the Beyond Salsa series likes to call after effects, where the section changes here, demonstrably, right? There's 8 bar, it's all 8 bar sections, nothing weird about it, but all this stuff happens after the beginning of the section. And people expect that, you know, dancers, if you watch them dancing to this kind of music and they know how to do it, are expecting extra stuff to happen in the beginning of a section. And so it gets longer and it goes further in, and in fact, you see farther back here, stuff happens in the beginning of the section, that's here, and then we go on, and then in the beginning of the next repetition of it, there's also a thing that happens. So it's almost as if this is the one that you were expecting, because at this point people were expecting these after effects to happen a lot of the time, and then there's another one to keep doing stuff that you weren't expecting. So just a little aside there. I realize now that I've been marking the gears when the time comes in, but I'm inclined to... I forget what I had established style-wise. At one point or another, I would put them there, as in, this is the downbeat, you're playing this, but at the moment, this is your break, and then when the time comes in, when the slashes come in, that's what you're playing. But I think right now I'm doing this, and I think it's... because you know that where the section changes because the double bar. Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to leave that as it is.
Chupa chupa pa Teresa, pa' qué? Chupa chupa pa' que mueva la cabeza. Te digo que chupa chupa dame cabeza, dame cabeza. Te digo que.
So you see that they this is something that Charanga Habanera did a lot at this time, where they would spend some time near the end of the song going quite quickly between gears, up and down, in and out of breakdowns, and it allowed them to use a lot of different percussion breaks and a lot of this is on the album I'm talking about. Live they sort of extend these quite a bit, but this happens on a couple. This album, which is I forget what album this is, but it happens a lot. Take my word for it.
Chupa chupa dame caramelo. Ay, sin eso me muero. ¿Hasta cuándo? Ay, pero ¿hasta cuándo? Esto tiene que ser llanto y llanto, matando y sanando. Toma chupa chupa dame caramelo.
Now see, this is arguably a pedal section because listen to the synth bass. This is the kind of thing that you call a pedal.
Ay, pero ¿hasta cuándo? Ay, sin eso me muero. ¿Hasta cuándo? Ay, pero ¿hasta cuándo? Esto tiene que ser llanto.
It's huge. They've used a bigger, sort of beefier patch. And again, they did a little break. To show that they're going up into something higher energy. I'm considering actually removing these and only putting double bars between like salsa gears versus timba gears, as in marcha gears versus meneo gears, as in normal stuff you would find in salsa, at least structure-wise, compared to stuff where the bass drops out and it seems like a breakdown or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure about that, but I'm going to do it for now. Is there a break going back into the... not really, it just ends the song. That's funny. I wonder if I should... Yeah, why not? No, that's... I will put thing in the percussion part here because... Oh, wait, hold on. I'll put a fermata there because the other instruments are going to be doing fermata. And that is where we'll call it for today. So, I'm going to just view this as a percussion part. And that's ugly. 5-line staff, that's what we want. I'm going to quickly... Am I? Yes, it appears I am. Nope. No. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this so that it's a little easier to read along. I know that technically you're not supposed to have repeat bars on a new line, but for percussion stuff, I am of the opinion that that doesn't matter all that terribly much, because what is much more important is that there's an even number of bars per section that's clear. Can I get away with this? Nope. Can I get away with this though? So I'm just doing this 6, 7, 8. And this kind of stuff makes that thing that I was worrying about before a lot easier. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In fact, in this case, I can probably take this out that I was worrying about earlier, because this system is clearly 8 bars, and that way you don't have to worry about this. The spacing kind of tells you the story that 6 would have told you before. So, you gotta wait with this one. For now, yes, I will say that I can get away with that. That too. No, fuck. 16, 17, 18. No. Fuck. This is gonna be a nasty one, and people are gonna get on my back for it. But that's fine. I like stirring the pot. Ew. I don't want to. What's the option? That, and then that. Fine. Fine, whatever. It's fine. It's not gonna bug me in the back of my mind. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. This is getting a lot less. Damn it. Oh, I want to fit the other page on here, though. Can I do it? If I do... Oh, fuck it. Fine. Okay. Let's do that, and I'll fix the rest in a second. And then I can get away with this. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Well, yeah, we'll be... For that, go. That's what's happening there. What? Oh, no, it's not. I don't like doing that because it makes it look like the section starts here at 221, which it doesn't. It starts here at the double bar, and that's why I like to put the gear names on the section start, whether or not there's actually time being played there. We'll see. That's ugly as sin. How about this? That's doable, and then... okay. Let me just fix these things a little bit, just so that it isn't discussed. Oh, it's because of the grace notes. That's what it is. I can get away with those being a little bit closer. Come on, let me do it. What are you doing? Did I freeze the Oracle? No, I didn't. Odd. Already 114%. Okay, what, let's just say that that's fine for now. Maybe just nudge this one a little bit so that it's a little roomier. This one, however, why am I not being allowed to do that? That's odd. Oh. Oh. That's nicer. Now if I can do that, then I can get away with a little more room on this grace note too. I know that this is overkill, but it'll be good for the very fast viewing that we're about to do. Oh, there was the other ugly one. What? Oh, it's here. Okay. Oh no, I want to do this one. So the top square, by the way, in Dorico, changes the spacing. Changes the horizontal spacing of that item with it affecting the rest of the system, and the little circle changes it without it affecting the rest of the system. That's the system. So this now looks less disgusting. I mean, I could mess with the spacing of those triplets and note heads and shit in that bar and make it look better, but for now, this is just fine. And so I'll just end the video with playing the audio and trying to sync up the playhead with the audio manually. It'll be fun. Okay.
Está llevando de la mano y agitado. Solo me pide que le compre en el mercado, que la lleve a pasear por el malecón.
¡Qué vacilón!
Quiere bailar en el con Paulito, su élite. La charanga habanera, los papás bebé, el chévere de la salsa.
Con bamboleo y Simone.
Quiere pasear en automóvil, una moto a la playa en chalupa. Pero yo solo de regalo traigo un chupa chupa. ¿A qué te gusta?
Ay, esa niña a mí me tiene cansada, y yo con esa muchachita yo no puedo. Le di su chupa chupa y ahora no quiere darme caramelo. ¿Y por qué?
Toma chupa chupa, dame caramelo. Ay,
Ay,
sí que eso me muero. ¿Hasta cuándo?
ay, pero ¿hasta
¿Hasta
cuándo?
cuándo tiene que ser tan tirando?
Así que dímelo cantando.
Cristobalina está llevando de la mano y agitado. Solo me pide que le compre en el mercado, que la lleve a pasear por el malecón. Quiere bailar en con Paulito, su élite. La charanga habanera, los papás bebé, lo chévere de la salsa. Quiere pasear en automóvil, una moto a la playa en chalupa. Pero yo solo de regalo traigo chupa chupa. ¿A qué te gusta?
Ay, seguro que sí.
Pide que te regale un chupa chupa. Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta.
Mira, yo traigo chupa chupa de toda la fruta. Abre la boca, mami, dime si te
Pide que te
gusta.
regale un chupa
Ay, pero
chupa.
pídelo,
Te compraré una
pídelo.
caja si a ti te gusta.
Hay de fresa, vainilla, de menta, de choco, de piña, de mango, naranja y de
Pide que te regale un chupa chupa. Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta.
Te compraré una caja si a ti te gusta.
¿Qué cosa?
Muy sabroso chupa chupa.
chupa chupa de piña,
un chupa chupa con sabor a piña.
si no hay,
A ella lo mismo le da que sea de vainilla.
que quiere cerveza,
Que quiere esa belleza.
chupa de fresa,
Y pa' que quiera tener su chupa chupa de fresa, pa' que se le quiten los olores de cabeza.
que lo que quiere la niña,
¿Qué quiere esa niña?
chupa de piña,
Esta habla para pinta, su tenso de limón.
y se compró chupa chupa,
A que le tocó, le tocó.
que lo que quiere Teresa,
Que Dios se lo dio.
chupa chupa de fresa,
Que se lo recomendó su doctor.
¿qué le digo?
Pruébalo, no importa el
Que lo
sabor.
que quiere la niña,
Ay, que no, que no.
chupa chupa de piña,
Ay, llegó la hora de probar tu chupa chupa. Ahora yo voy a repartir lo que te gusta.
chupa chupa para
Chupa
Carla,
chupa para Carla.
chupa para
Solo
Riquita,
chupa para Riquita.
chupa chupa para Teresa,
Ay, Teresa, dáselo de
chupa chupa
fresa.
para que mueva la cabeza,
Para que mueva la cabeza. Ay, Carla, que Carla.
chupa para Riquita,
Ay, rica, qué rica.
chupa para Teresa,
Ay, Teresa, qué belleza.
chupa para que mueva la cabeza,
Muévete.
chupa para Carla,
Chupa para Carla.
chupa para Riquita,
Chupa para Riquita.
chupa para Teresa,
Otro para Teresa.
chupa para que mueva la cabeza,
A ver si bien que. Ay, te traigo yo.
chupa chupa para
Pero
Teresa,
pa' qué, pa' qué, pa' qué, pa' qué.
para que mueva la cabeza,
Ay, cántalo, pero bailalo.
chupa chupa para Teresa, chupa chupa para que mueva la cabeza,
Te traigo yo.
chupa chupa para Teresa,
¿Pa' qué, pa' qué?
chupa chupa para que mueva la cabeza,
Mira.
chupa chupa para Teresa,
¿Pa' qué, pa' qué?
chupa chupa para que mueva la
Y ahora
cabeza,
yo te digo que.
chupa chupa dame caramelo, ay,
Ay,
sin eso me muero, ¿hasta cuándo?
ay, pero ¿hasta
Porque
cuándo?
esto tiene que ser dando y dando, pagando y salando. Toma chupa chupa, dame caramelo. Ay,
Ay.
sin eso me muero. ¿Hasta cuándo?
¿Y lo mío
Porque
qué?
esto tiene que ser dando y dando, pagando y salando.
Wonderful. Yeah, you can see they've slowed down a little bit during the verse. I had to reset it a bit, but that kept in sync surprisingly well, considering this thing is just running straight 100, and I guarantee you they weren't using a click in the session. Great. So that's that. Next live stream, I'll be coming back and doing the bass. I already have a little bit of the piano transcribed, which I will show you, and the bass for that matter. I'll show you that now. Just as a little sneak peek. Just make a new layout quickly. It's got the piano and the bass. Wonderful. Piano and bass. So, let's just switch over here to the second. Well, hold on a second here. All I gotta do is I gotta save the first one that I was just working on, close it, and then let the dog out because she needs out. 1 second. Great, and now it should be, yeah, wonderful. So this is the bit that I've done with the piano and bass. This is just the main tumbao and a couple of variations. Let's quarter equals 2. Yeah, that's all right. So here we go. So you get the idea. It's pretty fun. So I've kind of got the main thing mapped out, but the piano does some other stuff, as does the bass, but I've got the main patterns mapped out. So, that's that. Thanks for watching. I'll put this up as percussion. Next live stream, which will be announced on the Facebook page, we'll be doing the bass stuff for the verses, piano stuff for the verses, probably if I can get to it. But I'll keep it to around an hour for that one too. And this will be up once YouTube processes it, so you can watch back later. And do subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that way I don't have to tag people in Facebook posts whenever I live stream. And that'd be wonderful.